The same psychological trigger that will win on Google Shopping will quietly kill your performance on demand gen campaigns. Same product, same offer, but a different surface. And the reason comes down to something that almost nobody running Google Ads is actually talking about. Most brands think their Google performance only comes down to things like bids, budgets, and targeting. And of course, those do matter. But before any of that has a chance to work, there's a psychological layer that decides whether your ad gets processed at all, or gets filtered out before the viewer even realized it was there. And the part that catches almost everyone out is that that layer is different dependent on the campaign type you run. The exact thing that makes an ad win on one surface is the thing that makes it invisible on the other. And a quick bit of context on why I'm so passionately interested in this. Before I ever got into this industry at all, I worked as a medical doctor, on the ward, seeing patients, treating disease. And human psychology was such an important part of my training and work. How the brain filters information, how attention actually works, why we notice one thing and miss the other thing sitting right next to it. And it's that what pulled me into marketing in the very first place. And once my team and I started properly applying these principles across our clients' accounts, matching the psychology to the specific campaign types we were running, it changed our numbers enough to now I'm at a point where we've generated over $150 million in revenue with Google and YouTube alone. These are the same principles applied to ad accounts instead of being applied to patients. And there are 4 Google Ad surfaces where this matters most: search, shopping, YouTube, and demand gen. 4 campaign types and 4 completely different states of mind, and a different psychological principle that wins on each one. And matching that principle to the state, that's the whole game. And I call it state matching. And the last state, the one that decides your static demand gen performance, is the one most brands never run at all. And it's the reason why your most specific ad creative can beat your prettiest ad creative 10 times out of 10. Let's start with the first of the 4, shopping. So with shopping, what is actually happening in that half second before anyone clicks anything? When your customer types a query and the shopping results load, their brain doesn't just read them, well, at least not at first. It sees the whole grid here as a single pattern before it processes one individual product. And that's not a figure of speech. It's a real measurable stage of vision, and it happens before conscious attention even arrives. And here's how you know you've personally felt it before. Say you open a page of a newspaper, or you look at a shelf in a supermarket. Your eye will get drawn to one single thing. You couldn't have told anyone why. You don't know why it went there, but something just pulled your eye. And that is your visual system doing the oldest job it was designed to do, sweeping for things that stand out before the thinking part of your brain has caught up. And this is called the von Restorff effect, or the isolation effect. Put a basket of apples in front of someone, all green and one red. The red one will be the one that they draw their eye to. Not because it's better, but because it broke a pattern. In Google Shopping, there is a problem that the vast majority of brands sleepwalk their way into. Every product image in their grid looks the same. It's got a clean white background, product floating in the middle, because that's what everyone told them to do. So you get a wall of near identical white squares. And this beautiful professional product shot just drifts into the background. It disappears essentially. It becomes camouflage. But now look at this grid. Your eye goes straight to this listing before you decided anything. And here's why this matters on shopping more than any other surface. Shopping is the only place that Google will line up your competitors directly next to you in a grid in the exact same format. The sameness is guaranteed by the layout, but the opportunity therefore is guaranteed also. On shopping, you don't have to be the best product in the grid. You win by being the one that isn't shaped like every single thing else in that grid. And if your image looks identical to everything else, you're not paying to stand out, you're paying to blend in. So that's what happens when customers are scanning a grid of images. But the moment those results are words and not images, say a stack of text ads that they actually have to read, then the brain switches jobs. And this is search. So it could be the same typed query, but completely different processing. On shopping, their eye was sweeping for the product that stood out, but on search, they're reading line by line, and that flips the mechanism entirely. Because the second they read those words back, something fires that you can use. So let's say someone searches for number 1 task management tool. Those words don't just sit there in their brain. They switch on everything nearby. Task pulls up projects, pulls up team, pulls up workflow. The related ideas are already half lit before the person has even looked at a single result. The brain calls this priming, looking out for the one thing we're actively searching for. So when your ad says the exact words that they just searched, it isn't landing on a cold brain. It's landing on one that's already lit those words up. And so it gets recognized faster. There's less work to register, and the less work is the edge. So this Zoho text ad here for number 1 task management tool reads back best task management app, number 1 task management software, organize tasks, set priorities. Compare that to Salesforce's try the world's number 1 AI CRM. It's not lighting up the same terms that this Zoho ad is here. So by the process of priming, customers are more likely to click this Zoho ad. So the customer has primed their brain, and your job as someone running search-based ads or text ads is to match what they have primed. And the great thing about Google search is that you can see exactly what they've primed by reviewing your search term report. You can see the search queries that your keywords trigger for. And we know how important this is because now more than ever, Google is placing more emphasis on relevance. So this process of priming also ties back to Google's core philosophy of delivering relevant ad experiences. So if you're writing your search ads in generic language, or you're trying to target lots of keywords with a single search ad, well, you won't be able to prime in the same way that another advertiser who is focusing a single theme around a single ad group. So they can create the language of their ad around what their customer will have been primed to look for. And that is key to being successful with search. And it's also important to note, just one addendum before I move on to the next part. Google will note if you have higher relevance, you'll get higher quality scores, meaning you'll pay less for a click. So not only is this just a psychological hack to get you more clicks, it's also a psychological hack to get you cheaper clicks. So with shopping, we're breaking the pattern, and with search, we're matching the words. But what about a surface where they didn't search and they're not scanning a grid? Something like YouTube. This is a different mode again. Customers on YouTube are absorbed in the content. A review, a tutorial, someone talking to camera. And when you're absorbed like that, your guard is genuinely down. But there is a catch, and it's a big one. They know an ad is coming. And after thousands of videos watched, the customer's brain has learned to spot one thing with almost perfect accuracy. It's not ads in general, it's the exact moment that a piece of content turns into an ad. Because the instant the brain resolves to thinking it's an ad, their thumb is already moving to skip. Is it the cut, the polished voiceover, the high quality edit? The customer's brain has been trained to see this as ads incoming. So the ad that survives on YouTube does one thing. They never let the customer's flicker resolve that video content as an ad. They mimic the format of the content the user is already watching. Actual reviews, UGC, what they do so well is they look like the content that was just on before and the content that they will skip to after. Let's watch this YouTube short from Groons.
You like the new flavor?
Straight away, very native style. Speaking with their kid, set up in a car, iPhone front camera.
Do you remember what it's called?
Raspberry lemon.
Yeah, raspberry lemonade. Does it taste good?
Yeah.
I love that I can just give it to her in the car.
And it just feels like a mom talking to other moms about something she's found that her kid loves.
Amazing. These are so good for you. And they taste yummy. Thumbs up.
And there we go. It's a very basic ad, but it will do such a fantastic job at blending in. And all we're trying to do with our YouTube Shorts is blend in, and of course then towards the end, perhaps some direct response to bring them through to our landing page. But the issue is most brands will resort straight to ad, direct response copy at the top of the ad, here's our product. That won't work because it doesn't blend in with what's actually happening on the platform in terms of organic content. And this is the type of content that will perform best on YouTube Shorts. And it's all because of camouflaging and not letting the brain flicker to, is this an ad? So far we have breaking the pattern on shopping, we have matching the words on search, and we have blending in on YouTube. And the last of the 4 surfaces I want to touch on are demand gen campaigns, but specifically the Discover feed, Gmail, and the YouTube feed. And psychologically, this is the hardest of the 4 because here the viewer isn't even searching. They're not scanning a grid of products that they asked to see, nor are they even really watching. They're scrolling on autopilot, not looking for anything and not really in the mood to be sold to either. So how do you get through a filter like that? Well, this is where most brands get it exactly wrong. The instinct is to shout. Bigger claim, louder creative, more contrast. The same thing that won on shopping, but it fails here. Because on shopping, the louder one wins the grid, but drop that same loud, obvious ad into a native feed, and the brain doesn't read it as interesting. It reads it as an ad, and it filters it faster. The exact instinct that wins on one surface is actively punishing you in the other. There's only one thing that reliably gets through a passive filter like this, and you've most certainly experienced it in the most literal way. Say you're at a party, loud room, dozens of conversations, and you're not really listening to any of them. And then someone somewhere across the room says your name, and you hear it instantly through all of the noise. That's the cocktail party effect. Or did you ever have that feeling that, think I heard my name? That is the same effect. Your brain runs a background process that filters out everything except what's about you. And it never switches off, not in a crowded room, nor on autopilot in the Discover feed. So the creative that gets through isn't the loudest one. It's the one that feels like it's calling out the customer directly. It's not skincare for women. It's the exact situation that they're experiencing. The skin that changed after the second baby, the 3 a.m. feed, the thing they haven't said out loud. And we can see that skincare, supplement, health and wellness companies do this really well. Look at all of these different callouts. Always bloated. That's something that someone will really resonate with. Or feeling fatigued or dehydrated. Or calling all women who want to get rid of their fupa. These are the callouts that will trigger that cocktail party effect in people. And it's these type of callouts that are most successful for us on the Discover, Gmail, and YouTube feed. So that's the whole thing. Same product, same offer, but 4 surfaces and 4 completely different brains on the other side of the screen. And that is state matching. Shopping, we're breaking the pattern. Search, we're matching the prime. YouTube, we're blending in with the native organic style. And demand gen, we're triggering that cocktail party effect. The psychology that wins changes depending on what state the viewer's brain is in when they see your ad. If you get that right, surface by surface, everything downstream gets easier. More of the right attention, better clicks at the same spend, and numbers moving the right way across all of the campaigns that you run. Now, if you want a second pair of eyes on this and you'd like my team and I to review your Google Ads account, we'll unearth these psychological hacks that you're not leaning on. Also, all of the structure, bidding, targeting that could be done better to get you better results for your brand. If you're an e-com store and you'd like to have that call with our team today, then there is a link in the description to book. Just fill out 3 or 4 questions to make sure that we can actually help you. And once you've done that, go watch this next video where I break down my entire blueprint on scaling Google Ads into cold traffic so you can hunt for new demand on the platform, not just harvest demand you're getting from email, Meta, or organic word of mouth. So I'll see you there.